It's Late Night Lori coming to you on Friday, August 1st at 11:41. Oh, 11:42 p.m. I got a late start. Busy night. My guest stamper is here for the weekend. I don't know if she'll be doing any guest stamping with me or not. But she's here for the weekend, so we might have a surprise. Oh, let me turn my volume down on my iPad so I can watch along and see if anybody joins me live. I'm later than I wanted to be, but not as late as I sometimes am. So I'm usually on every night between 11 p.m. and midnight Central Time. So if you're a night owl like I am, Late Night Lori is here in the late evenings. So just a quickie little commercial. Vicky, welcome. I heard it was really hot in Arizona today, like 109 degrees, I think is what my niece in Tempe said. But anyway, here's my quickie little commercial. In just a couple of days, 15% off in color products. I made a couple of in color cards a couple of days ago using like a herringbone or a chevron kind of design. Last night it told you it was private and you couldn't see. My live was probably over, and I don't make it public until the following morning, so that YouTube has a chance to do whatever analytics they have for distribution. So you should be able to get into past ones now. Hopefully you can see it. So anyway, this starts on August 5th and it's going to run through August 31st. So this is a pretty cool sale. I will let you know more details when I have reviewed more details in depth. I do know that it's only the 2025 to 2027 in colors. So that would be our Strawberry Slush, Timid Tiger, Darling Duckling, Cloud Cover, and Secret Sea. So I'm pretty certain it'll be inks and cardstock and designer series papers that have the in colors in them. Maybe some embellishments, I'm not sure. There might be some exclusions. So we'll just have to wait and see what Stampin' Up! Does. So, big surprise, I'm going to do something with our in colors, or at least one of the in colors again tonight. So this is the 2025 to 2027 in color 6x6 pack. I'm getting kind of slim pickings here because I've made things with it. So I'm going to just set that off to the side because I have my piece that I want to use pulled out already. Let me get the cable out of my way. I don't know that you can see it, but it was in my way. I'm going to use a few leftover pieces from last night's card. These I stamped, these three. And then these dies, there's an outline die for each image, and there's like an embossing die. Actually a cutting die. It doesn't really emboss it. It cuts little like ridges in here so that you can make it look a little more dimensional as a piece of popcorn. So those are kind of fun. So I made several last night. Here's the card I did last night, Vicky. And a little wobble again for our popcorn guy. I layered 3 of the glasses so that they would look a little nerdier. And I layered 3 sets of the shoes as well. The popcorns are up on dimensionals. I used the circle dots, dotted circles, and just partially embossed that layer, and then used this like film strip piece to make like my little movie reel. So that's that card. And then these are a couple of cards that I had from a swap, which made me decide I needed to get this set, this bundle, because I originally had passed it by thinking, I'm really not interested. But they're adorable. So, oh, that's my mask. So I'm just going to set these off to the side there. I'm not going to cut anything else tonight with this because I am only using these popcorn guys. I'm going to use the leftover sentiment because last night I originally wasn't sure if I wanted the banner on the top or going sideways. I decided on the sideways one. Thank you, Vicky. It's an adorable set. So, you know, you start playing with it, and Stampin' Up! Makes it pretty easy to make cute things. So if you like my video, I'd love for you to give me some little hearts or a thumbs up or whatever you can do on YouTube. That's great. Feel free to share my video. That helps me kind of build my channel here in my community, which is kind of why we're here, is just to share all the ideas. So I'm going to keep that over there. I am kind of casing the online sample that Stampin' Up! Has provided, one of them for this set. And this is basically, I know it's not pretty, but this is basically my sketch. So there's a background piece of DSP that had stripes on it. There was another layer that looked like it might have been blending brushes on it, maybe, to get it kind of the Darling Duckling color. And then there were some popcorn pieces. A couple of them were up on dimensionals. So I already have these 3 on dimensionals from yesterday. So I may use 3 of them. There was a banner. What luck. I have a banner left over from yesterday. And I have a couple of just little scraps of white baker's twine. So I'm going to wrap those around. And the sentiment was put there like this. I don't remember what the sentiment online said. But that's kind of what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to set that up there. So I am working with a thick basic white base. So it's 8.5 by 5.5. Scored at 4 1/4. And I'm just going to make sure that that's burnished pretty well. The thick paper, thick cardstock rather, sometimes is a little more stubborn, but I like my piece to be a little more compliant, I guess. All right. So the card sample actually has it landscaped, and I don't usually do landscaped cards this way. I usually do portrait. And I'm wondering if I want to do this up and down. I thought I would put some red strips on here just because I like the bold contrast. And I'm going to wrap some of this around here, kind of like I originally had it. So we'll wrap some of that, and maybe just, so there's not too much on here. Just take one layer around so that there's like 3. So we'll do that. And then these little guys can come on here. 2 or 3 of them. Maybe I'll do 3. This I'm not going to use. That was just left over from last night. Instead of the striped cardstock, I was going to do pop repeatedly along the side in real red. And I'm going to use the Darling Duckling and stamp these popcorn pieces right on my Darling Duckling DSP. All right. So we could do that way, or we could flip it and go this way. So what do you think, Vicki? Landscape or portrait? If it's going to be landscaped, I'm going to cut a new card base because I would rather have my card open landscape so that when it sets up, it doesn't flatten out over time. Because this is going to be so cute that somebody's going to want to leave it up for a while, right? And I don't want my tent to fall. So landscape or portrait, what do you think? Give me a vote. I'm going to go get some more cardstock. And looks like I have to open a new pack. So when I use white for my card bases, I prefer the thick basic white just because it's a little sturdier. I need to find my little slicer. And I always just open the end of my packs. So then I can just pull them out of the end. And then if I Yes, I had portrait first. Sorry if there's a delay. So there's my portrait version, which I kind of like. I kind of like portrait cards personally, but it's not always all about me. Okay, so that would be the portrait. What do you think? So when I store my paper, I have some open shelves that used to be music shelves from an elementary school. And I snagged them up. They were closing the school, so they were getting rid of all of their old stuff. It was an old school. So I got these two open cabinets, and they're perfect for my papers. So I have my cardstock in the slot, so when I pull it out, I can see the color name if I need to. But then I just pull my pages right out of my pack, and I put my scraps right back in my pack. All right, so let's... yeah, I know what that's like. Part of why I was later tonight was because I was waiting for my husband, who was heading to bed, and I wanted to at least say goodnight to him. So I am going to score this first at 5.5, and then I'm going to cut it at 4.25. So yeah, I'm kind of a portrait fan myself, but we can lay it out again. So we could do that, or this, basically. Still portrait. I'm all right with that. I'm going to open up my inks. So it's what, like 10 o'clock almost by you, Vicki? I think your 2 hours at this time of year are different from us. Yeah. I think in winter we're only an hour different because Arizona doesn't do daylight savings time. So, all right. We're going to go ahead and do portrait just because I like portrait. And I'll save this because I might do it for something else, or I can cut it down for other things that I need. So first things first, let's go ahead and stamp 954. Okay, cool. We have family here from Arizona, again, visiting, not at our house. They're staying at my brother-in-law's house. So they're kind of glad that our weather is a little cooler because it's been like 109, 10, 11, 12-ish where they're from. So let's just go ahead and stamp randomly some of these little popcorn folks. And I'm just doing those basically tone on tone. So this is the back side of the floral from the 2025 to 2027 in color. Let me just slide this under here. We're gonna kind of go off our page a little bit, make it pretty random. And then I thought there was one more that I had. Maybe I put that one away. I did. All right, here we go. May as well use all the shapes, right? Oh, this one doesn't have the little emphasis around it, so I'll just put one of those because the banner's going to come up here. And I'll need that. Sorry, thinking inside my head. So now we're going to go ahead and do our popping in red, real red. Ooh, 107 today, 114 tomorrow. We have been in the upper 90s, but it's very humid by us. Plus, we've had a lot of smoke issues from the Canadian wildfires that has been drifting by us. So I am just going to start doing some pop stamping and just kind of random, knowing that that's a little crooked, but nobody's going to care, right? And then we'll just kind of make it repeat. Maybe I'll just go like this. I'll make it look like I meant for it to go. how it was. That one smudged just a little bit, but it's fine. All right, and then we can do the same thing on the other side. And we'll go this way. I don't think I need that one on there, but that's all right. Because I think my layer is wide enough that that part won't show, but that's all right. We'll just keep on keeping on. All right. So that would be fun, even just to do like some blending and putting some of these guys in there, you know. I think that would be fun. But that's not the intention for tonight. So we're going to do this. And maybe I'll put a couple of pops on here too. Once we get it down, we'll take a look at it. So I'm going to go ahead and add this on. Vicki, do you do classes at all? Or are you in it for the discount? I may have asked you that before. I don't remember. I apologize. And if I don't respond right away to a comment, it's because there is a delay between the live and comments. I'm just trying to shift this down just a smidge so I have an equal minute little line there. All right, so we can get rid of that. I started out as a demonstrator solely for the discount. And then, you know, I went to a couple of classes, or maybe I know I was invited to a club meeting, and after that I went to a couple of classes. These are just, I guess, 1/4 inch by 5.5. So anyway, I was invited to a class, or invited to a club, and then I went back to that demonstrator a couple of times, and actually took my mother one time because she was a crafter, not necessarily cards, but crafty, and we made just such a cool card, and it was using ink. You do classes once a month, 8 regulars. That's great. That's awesome. So we did this card, and I still have the set. It was an Easter set that had a cross and the cloth on it, draped on it, and we did some aqua painter coloring or painting with that, and I thought that was such a cool technique. There was a good sale or a joining bonus at the time. I couldn't even tell you what it was anymore, but I thought, oh, I'm gonna join. So I was never asked to join. I just wanted the deal. So when I reached out to the demonstrator, she was really surprised. And she used to advertise, you know, oh, come be a kidnapper. If that's all you want to do, that's fine. Just, you know, get the kit. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just get the kit. Not a big deal. And then I'm still here. Origami Girl, welcome from California. What's the weather out by you? Arizona is in the hundreds. Wisconsin, I think we were actually mostly in the 70s today. So this piece is not going to be wrapped a second time because it's not long enough. And then this piece I'll wrap around. I started in 2017. So I just, in March, had my 8th year. I have a small customer base. I retired from my full-time work a year ago, April. So I was doing it mostly as a hobby. And after I retired, I got my chickens, started doing sourdough bread, and decided, okay, I need to get my rear in gear, I guess you could say, because my intention was to put more time into my business. So Origami Girl, Gloria, oh, you Northern California. Okay, so tomorrow, low of 55, high 92. Yeah, I think we're supposed to be still in the 70s tomorrow. So I put a little bit of seal on here to start, holding my baker's twine. But then I like to use my tear and tape just to kind of hold it in place. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this up on dimensionals. And let me get my snips. I am proud to say I am to the edges of another one of my dimensional sheets. I always feel like I'm very accomplished when I can use the edges of my dimensionals. And when I empty a glue bottle, which happens quite a bit. So you signed up in 2008, so you've been doing it for quite a long time. Good for you. Good for you. Things were kind of hard to maneuver during COVID. And I didn't get on board with all the online stuff because I was still working full time. And because I was working from home, calls the edges the bones. Yeah, pretty much, right? I think I'm going to put one more piece in the middle here because I just don't want it to fall in. I was working from home, and actually I found that I was working even longer hours when I was working from home, because I could actually get more done. You get up in the morning, you go in the bathroom, brush your teeth, and walk right across the hall into the room that I was using for my office. So it was very convenient. So I think we need to, this is just such a very simple card, but I think it's still fun. Where should we put the pop? And what gems do I need? I thought oh, here. We could use these gold sequins. You retired in 2021. Okay. So COVID pooped you out, sounds like, right? Maybe not. Yeah. I love retirement. I'm very glad that I retired. So I'm just going to do a little pop. Hopefully we won't ruin this. Pop. Maybe another random pop here, because I don't want to go over my edge. And let's just use this. We'll go up to here and try to do just a little bit of the P there. Nope, that didn't work. So I got a little ridge there though, so we're gonna put some sequins there. I've loved being retired, absolutely. So let's go ahead and put these little popcorn guys down. So we're just gonna, I put these dimensionals on yesterday because I wasn't sure how many I was gonna use for that card. So that's why I have some of these things ready already, because I was very late because our granddaughter came over. She's here for the weekend. Well, Origami Girl, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for popping in. This is your first time. I'm on pretty much every night. So I'm Late Night Lori, and I go on somewhere between 11 p.m. and midnight, usually Central Time. Okay? And I'm going to put Oh, I need to put one over here because of my little smudge. So let's start with those two. I do not have a set time. I mean, I've got a time frame, but not a perfectly set time. So it's not like I'm always on at 7 p.m. Kind of when my day kind of winds down, I'm the night owl. My husband is not. So I usually wait until he's either gone to bed or he's snoring in the chair watching television before I really get creative, I guess. Well, if you're doing classes, you're more than a hobby demo to me, Vicki. Good for you. Oh, your first upline quit. So are you direct to Stampin' Up then, or do you? I'm not really sure how that works when the upline goes away. I still have my upline, and in fact, we have a team meeting on Sunday. Okay, so you don't have a contact with the person who was her upline. Okay, well, if there's ever anything I can help you with, feel free to reach out. You know, I don't know it all. You probably know more than I do. You've been doing it longer than I have, but I'm more than happy to be a sounding board if the need should arise. So Origami Girl, where are you from? Northern California, you said. Are you a demonstrator, customer? Oh, her upline is out of Utah. Okay. So I'm going to put the cover on these. These are, what are they called? The loose gold sequins. These are new. I got them at a demonstrator event earlier in July. Was it July? It might have been the June one. Maybe it was the June one. I went to one in June also. So that's my card for tonight. Pretty simple. I was able to chit chat the whole time. Thank you both for keeping me company. But this was the sketch from the online store. So it was a landscaped with striped designer series paper, a layer that looked like it could have used blending brushes to get some color on, the banner, and then a couple of popped up pieces of popcorn and stamped on pieces with some sequins. So pretty close, although Vicki and I decided to do this one in a portrait mode. So what I'll do for the inside is just put maybe another white layer. I like layers in my inside too. So you're a hobbyist, learning as much as you can. Well, feel free to pop in anytime. If there's anything I can ever help you with, let me know. And if you ever want to, are you a hobby demo or a hobbyist in that you like to craft? I mean, either way, I'm happy to help if you have questions and whatnot. So, like I was saying, I like to have layers on the inside of my card. So I'm still going to put a basic white layer in here. It'll be narrow like this one. And I will probably do a little blending brush on there. I mean, I could probably, instead of just talking about it, I could probably just do it. I've been on for about half an hour. Hang around if you want. If you need to leave, I get it. Let me grab a piece of basic white. I think this scrap might be thick, but that's all right. And then I need some real red. I'm almost done. I'm just cutting those little strips. So I've got this piece that is pretty close to the same size. It was already cut, so trying to learn techniques even on just layout ideas. Do you have a copy of the 2024-2025 catalog either, or both the annual and the mini catalog, because in the annual catalog on page 22, there are 22 layouts. And let me show you something. I just have to go around my crafting table. So I have a table where I do my classes. I can have like up to 6 people in here, relatively comfortable. And then I have my taller table that I stand. So you're still kind of a newbie. You like to craft. That's great. Well, if you ever want a discount, ask me how. So anyway, with my team, what we're doing is, this is the 2024 to 2025 annual catalog. And what we're doing, this is from page 22 of the catalog. I just took it out of the catalog, cut it down, and laminated it for posterity. But there's these 22 sketches or layouts on the bottom. And what we're doing at our team meetings is we're recreating the sample or the layout in just, I used old colors, all right? And then on the back, we're writing down what the measurements are. Now, there's a lot of demonstrators that do this. There are some demonstrators I know that have, like, I don't know if they've published a book. I don't have any of those because, I mean, there's so many ideas all over the place. You know, the catalog is a great place to get some layouts. But these were pre-designed ones. So here is the second one. So we just started this. I meet with my team every other month. So we just started this in July. So we're going to go through and we're going to make, you know, 2 or 3 every time we get together. But then we'll have these, and then we put what the dimensions are on the back. So these we can either put on a ring or in a binder, or, you know, like an album or something. And if you need an idea and you don't want to flip through, you know, old catalogs or whatever, these are like ready reference. All right. And then you don't have to recreate the wheel because all of the information is on the back of your card. So something to think about. If you don't have this catalog, I'm wondering if it's still online. Vicki, do you know if it's still available online as an old catalog to customers? I'm thinking maybe not. But if you need it, Vicki, our origami girl, I'm not sure what your first name is, let me know, and we can figure out how to get you maybe even just that page so they can still get it online as a customer. Okay, cool. So origami girl, if you need a little direction there, you can either go to my Facebook page, which is also Lori's Little Bit of Crafting, just like this is, and send me a message through there, or my email is lorimacari@gmail.com. So hit me up if you've got questions. All right. So let's just do a little bit of blending on this to kind of take away the starkness of the yellow. And I always, when I pick up my ink, I start blending on scrap. I will write that down, Vicki. Cool. I start on my scrap so that I don't get a glut of color in a place where I don't want it. All right. And the more ink you put, of course, the darker it's going to get, or the harder you press on your blending brush. So I use a finger. Some people use a thumb, and I really like the little ones. But I'm going to do that, and I'm going to put, let's put this little one down here near the bottom. And I want it to be inside. And I think we'll do one more near the top. They're really cute. All right, and then I don't, Vicki, what do you think? Should I put pop on the inside too? Probably, huh? To make it consistent. But this will go on the inside then. So we'll glue this down. A few little pops it is. We'll add that on there. So So I have two Vickies tonight. Vicky Akins. Oh, no. Who's Origami Girl? Yes, I will still put I was trying to read the messages. I will still put the red on here. So Origami Girl, I do not know your first name, and I see Vicky, got it, was responding and you were thanking her. I thought you were giving an email address or something. You are Joe. Well, welcome, Joe. Nice to meet you. Glad you popped in on my page. And I have a couple of hundred videos on my channel here. So feel free to scroll through these as something catches your eye. You will on occasion find a guest stamper highlight, and that is always my granddaughter. And she loves to craft with me. She is now 7.5, but she has been crafting with me since she was somewhere in her 2nd year. I have a picture of her doing some stamping, and it was a month or two before her 3rd birthday. So I know she's been stamping with me for over 5 years. So she knows all the lingo. Grandma, I need more dimensionals. Grandma, can I have the embellishments? Grandma, I need to take your pick tool. And she has gotten to the point where she loves to do videos with me. Grandma, can we do a video? Well, and how can I turn that down, right? Unless we really just don't have time. Or if she's too excited and I can't handle all the energy. But she has gotten to the point where she says to me, Grandma, I want to be late night Riley. And it'll be Riley's Little Bit of Crafting, and you can just stand behind me and I'll ask you if I need help. I'm like, okay, you go, girl. So I got a little bit of a halo here, so I'm just gonna wipe this down a little bit before I put it in my chamois. Yeah, Joe, go ahead and check out my channel. I try to share things that I think are fun, techniques. And I try to give tips during, you know, my online tutorials or classes or whatever you want to call them. All right, so let's do a couple of little pops here. I probably should have done the pop, pop, pop before I glued them on, but be brave, right? And I think let's do a couple of stamped off ones too. There. What do you think? Should I do any on the left, or you think that's overkill? All right, so there's the card. There is the card. And then Joe, you came on late, but this was my card. Let me close up my ink so I don't ruin something. Nothing on the left. Yeah, that might be a little too much. But I think it's very consistent with what's on the front. And even though I don't have the pops here, if I put the little bit of pop here, then it's going to flow into there, and I think it'll just look messy. So, unless I put a pile of popcorn in here, but I don't have the energy for that. So, Joe, here's the card I did yesterday using this Poppin By Bundle. And circling dotted circles. This is a dotted circles embossing folder on there, and then this is one of the dies from the set. So I used all of the dies for this card yesterday, and then I just used leftover pieces today. This card, I love the colors. I love the contrast to the red and the black, and that's why I decided today to do the red with the yellow, or the Darling Duckling. And then these are two other cards that I did recently for shoebox swaps. And I kind of used this one with this dotted circles. I keep forgetting what it's called. Yeah, dotted circles embossing folder. and I put that onto my layer here. So I kind of took an element from this one and put it on there, but then I took the glasses and I cut it out 3 times. I took the shoes, cut it out 3 times, and glued them together. And you probably can't see it really well. I don't know if I can get the angle up here right, but you might be able to tell that the glasses and the shoes are pretty thick. I could have done more layers, but I wanted them to look nerdier. And I just wanted the shoes to be substantial. And on the back of the popcorn bucket, there are big enough tabs to glue the feet on, the shoes on rather. All right. So these are my recent cards with this Poppin By bundle. Darling Duckling, which is what I used here and here, that yellow tone, that's an in color, and in colors, just a reminder, are going to be on sale August 5th to the 31st. So I think that's it, unless either of you has a question for me. And I'm just trying to put a comment in here. I don't have a moderator or an admin. I'm just all on my own. So I don't type responses when I'm doing the live. And once I end the line, or the live rather, then I can't do comments. So I am just, pardon my reach here. And I'm just going to put my quickie comment on here. Whoops. There we go. So thank you both for joining me. I appreciate it. It's always more fun to craft when there's somebody to collaborate with. Vicki, thanks for coming back. Always a pleasure. You've got good ideas. And Joe, thank you for joining me. I hope you come back. Like I said, pretty much I've been on every single night, I am pretty certain, since January when we started Celebration. So between 11 p.m. and midnight usually is when I start. So, and that's Central Time. So that's all I've got for tonight. Enjoy your weekend, ladies. Thanks again for joining me. And until next time. Oh, thank you. Yeah, Vicki, thank you very much, because you do have good ideas. So and that's why we're here. We're here to share those ideas. So I appreciate you both stopping in. So have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Maybe I'll catch you Saturday or Sunday still. And I might have a guest stamper with me, so we'll see how that goes. Until next time, happy crafting.